feel like this matchup has to favor Burn. You just Coleman's deck takes a few turns to get going, and Eidolon seems like it could be a big problem, especially with a lot of these looting and smaller cards. And I think Burn's Goldfish is faster than taking turns Goldfish. So
Absolutely.
I would probably put Nick on the pretty favorite here. So
Just upstairs to the Boros
Boros Charm hits for 6. So Coleman's already at
pretty
11.
precarious 11 here. Yeah. Not what you like to see.
No, and like if
especially while we're just still spinning our wheels here.
Yeah, like all it really takes is Nick to have like double bolt or something like that, and the game's like almost over. So.
Yep. Yeah, if we see an Eidolon here or multiple burn spells, I can't imagine that Coleman's gonna make it out alive.
Yeah, like I think. Yeah, or even just like it would have to be triple 1 mana burn spell to just win this turn. But even another like Boros Charm and Bolt would put Coleman to 1, and then his fetch lands are all dead. Oh, okay, so he's cycling the.
Well, that's Coleman's gotta be thankful about that.
Yeah, Coleman's definitely fist bumping.
A Rift Bolt. All right. If we can get like a savor the moment into something here.
Yeah, well, savor the moment
you don't get an untap
step. So that wouldn't necessarily help. I'm curious to see if exhaustion. That's a really good card right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that Nick chose to use Boros Charm on turn 2 instead of suspending the Rift Bolt, so that he could potentially get an extra powers trigger on the following turn.
I think that Nick may have ripped the Rift Bolt off of the top either on the cycle or the turn.
Okay.
That he cycled, but I absolutely agree that otherwise what just happened.
It looks like...
Did Nick discard a Skewer the Critics to something?
I think Nick cracked a fetch land and then attacked and then played a Skewer. Oh no.
No, wait, he can't have attacked.
Oh no, he played a fetch land and cracked, and because the Rift Bolt resolved.
Oh, the Rift Bolt. Yeah. Right. Okay, got it.
So now Coleman has Fires of Invention. So
that land should be tapped on Nick's side. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Now Coleman.
Okay, so that's
only casting Narset here.
But Coleman is still at 3, so
I don't know why Coleman would cast a Narset here as a second spell instead of a Time Walk effect.
Maybe
is his only Time Walk exhaustion? That would make sense.
Yeah. If Coleman doesn't have another...
Coleman doesn't have an actual Savor the
Moment, then that wouldn't work.
Yeah, it looks like his hand is just full of exhaustion. Wait,
yeah.
Was that...
Wait, that was...
that was a third spell?
That was a third spell. Okay, well, it looks like it doesn't matter. Because Nick showed him the burn, but... I think that was a third spell.
I do believe that was a third spell. Fires counts as your first spell.
Fires counts as the first one, so wouldn't have been able to play
unless I played that deck wrong for many weeks of Standard. Oh, we savored first. Okay, got it. Perfect.
So he played Savor the turn before, and then won that. Okay, so we can look at the sideboard. Nick has some Skullcrack, Smash to Smithereens, Core Firewalker, Path to Exile, Searing Blood. So pretty standard burn sideboard.
None of this particularly relevant here. I could see hedging in some Skullcracks to try and play around like things that Coleman could bring in, like timely reinforcements.
Yeah, potentially.
But I don't know.
Maybe even some Smash Smithereens to deal with maybe the Howling Mine effects.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Coleman's probably taking out Howling Mines because he's just giving his opponent more burn. So
absolutely. Howling Mine's pretty bad in this matchup. Yeah. And since Smash Smithereens only hits Howling Mine out of the two draw an extra card each turn effects, the other being Dictative Prefix. I don't think you want it here. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty in on just running up Skullcrack. We saw Nick taking out Searing Blaze there.
Yeah,
so I think you just want to take your Searing Blazes out and replace them with Skullcracks, and that seems like the only change you need to make.
Yeah. And then looking over at Coleman's sideboard, you got some Thing in the Ice, Physical Dispute, The Gate, Rest in Peace, Time Reinforcements, Abrade, Pyroclasm. So, I think in this matchup, you probably bring in the Timely Reinforcements.
Certainly.
And maybe Negate.
I think Negate might be a little too slow.
Yeah. Thing in the Ice might actually be okay as like a
I
faster
don't
way
hate Thing in the Ice.
To try and kill. And it can block some of the Goblin guys in the supposed to be early on.
Yeah, I think you probably want Pyroclasm and EE as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not the explosives, but it...
Yeah, even Pyroclasm sometimes is, like, not...
It doesn't...
The greatest.
It's definitely... It can be pretty aggressively medium against the hands that are just all burn spells. But generally those hands are going to be worse anyways. And the creatures are what tie a really good burn hand together. So I can see wanting the Pyroclasms, but it's also pretty reasonable not to bring them in here, I think.
Yeah. Alright, so looks like Coleman is going to be on the play for this one.
Both look like...
They're keeping?
Looks like... Yep.
Okay,
and we are off. Both keeping 7s yet again. Looks like Coleman has played a Mystic Sanctuary tapped on turn 1. That's not exactly where you want to see that card.
And then it looks like Goblin Guide attacked and revealed an Exhaustion. And, okay, here comes
that Thing in the Ice that we were talking about.
So
Coleman seems to think that it's worth it here. And I do tend to agree. It provides a pretty solid stone wall for these creatures and isn't really going to die to any of the burn spells that are in Nick's deck on their own.
Yeah. So I think Nick, I didn't see what Nick drew. It looks like he just drew a Sacred Foundry.
Looks like an Arid Mesa.
It looks like he has Skewer the Critics. Couple of Boros Charms.
Skewer looking pretty awkward here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Nick's got an Eidolon in hand, and I can't really see any reason not to just deploy that and pass the turn. No reason to attack into the Thing in the Ice, giving him a chance at drawing a land here. Looks like Coleman drew Howling Mine for the turn, so he did not board all of them out, at any rate. Also has a Savor the Moment, Exhaustion. Exhaustion looking pretty medium here.
Yeah.
I could see casting...
Yeah, it
looks like we're casting... Oh, it looks like we're missing our land drop.
I think he has a Misty Rainforest in hand. So it takes 2 from the Eidolon.
It's 2 from the Eidolon trigger. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, never mind. That makes me feel
Nick
better about this game.
Yeah, Nick gets 2 cards.
Nick getting 2 cards here. Really less than ideal for Coleman.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not what you want to see in this matchup, especially when you're trying to go a little bit longer with your Thing in the Ice.
Yeah.
Here goes the Eidolon. Nick's gonna go fall to 14 here. Cast a Lava Spike. Coleman to 12, Nick to 12.
Yeah.
And then I think we just get in here. We get to skewer the Thing in the Ice post combat.
Yeah. Takes 4.
Coleman to
goes to
8. Looks like Nick is just passing.
Yeah, looks like
interesting.
Yeah, I would have thought you would just fire it off on the Thing in the Ice, then
or even at face. Like at this point, I think you just want to get in your
because
use your mana.
If you do it at face, then you get to do, you put Coleman to 4, and then Coleman can only play 1 2-mana spell, 1 3,
one spell that triggers Eidolon.
Eidolon before he's locked out.
And it also, effectively turns off then Coleman's lands as well.
Yeah. Nope, there's fires in
There's fires. And Savor puts Coleman to 4.
4, okay.
Alright, we've got one more spell to remove this Eidolon or win the game.
Yeah.
I can't see what that thing in the ice is at, but I believe it should be at 2 counters. Which is just a little bit too high.
Yeah.
Did we draw our second card from Howling Mine? There we go. Now we're doing that.
Oh, there's
a Timely. That is quite reasonable on this board.
Yeah, Timely is very good. That was exactly the card that
the tokens are going to be. Bounce the Eidolon. All right. Then there comes the Timely reinforcement.
So if Nick had fired off the Savor the if Nick had fired off the Skewer the Critics on his previous turn, Coleman would have been at 4.
Yep.
And then if he had cast the Savor the Moment, he would have been at 2. And then the Timely
he would not have been able to cast the Timely reinforcement.
Well, I guess technically he could have done the Jace
with the Jace line
bounce. But then Coleman would be at 8 instead of 10. And then Nick has the double Boros Charm.
The second Boros Charm, yep.
So you'd be able to just
fire it off here.
Coleman out. So it's going to be interesting to see. He might still be able to do it anyway. Although, I guess he also has 3 tokens now. The creatures.
Yeah, there's 3 1/1s that stonewall Nick's combat steps pretty effectively here.
Yeah. But Nick's going to get 2 more cards.
Yeah, unless Coleman rips it here, I think Nick is still going to get another untap step after this one.
Yeah.
And
I think Coleman really has to win on the next turn for him to have a shot here.
Yep. Looks like, and Fire says you can't cast spells in your opponent's turn, so we're not going to be doing any shenanigans with flipping our thing in the ice in combat.
Yeah.
Also tapped out, but
I think if I was Nick, I would just play a land and then ship and then wait to see what Coleman potentially does here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if you get the opportunity to be reactive here, that's definitely what you want.
Yeah. And you know you're going to win the game on the next turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I think that these. Let's see, is there? Oh, there is a die representing the 1/1s. Okay.
Is there a die? Oh yeah, there is one there. Okay, so.
Looks like we're just going upstairs right now.
Main phase Boros Charm.
And then into Skewer. Okay.
Skewer.
Land tapped and pass the turn. All right.
Okay, yeah. So Coleman basically has this turn to
gotta go off. We've got an exhaustion, which could actually be good enough here. Just assuming Nick doesn't have a lightning bolt. If Coleman's able to cast this Howling Mine, that actually casting a second Howling Mine here seems very dangerous, but I don't hate Exhaustion Serum Visions here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd probably brainstorm with Jace first to see what you got. It looks like there's a time warp.
Perfect.
Okay, so
all right. Well, we need to play our land.
So it puts 2 back. He's gonna play time warp. And then the thing in the ice is gonna be at 1 counter. Oh, exhaustion. So yeah, so the thing in the ice is gonna go to 1. Then he's gonna play time warp. Thing in the ice is gonna flip, and then that should be a game because he can attack for 7 and then attack for 7 again.
Yep. Yeah, and even though we did get to draw a bunch of cards at the beginning of that turn, that was not a spell. That was the loyalty ability of Jace the Mind Sculptor. And here we go to game 3.
Okay, so I think it comes back to the one turn where Nick chose to not cast Skewer to put Coleman to 4. Because then Coleman was able to play one more extra spell and go up to 10 instead of, which would have been 8 if he was at 4. And Nick had double Boros Charm with the land, so that would have been lethal that turn.
Would have been exactsies.
So hopefully we'll see. It sounds like Nick might be chatting about
that
particular
line.
Yeah, that might be something to maybe talk to him about after this match is done, depending on
certainly
how it goes.
Looks like we're getting some tokens so that we can
accurately
represent what's going on in the board state.
Yeah. So while the players are shuffling for modern right now, talking about standard for a second, because the Mythic Championship just finished. Obviously, Simic Food won the tournament. Oko's still crazy. It looks like there's been a couple new decks that have come out, though. Most recently, the Sultai Sacrifice and the Jund Sacrifice deck, as well as some of the different adventure decks like Golgari Adventures and Greenwhite Adventures.
Coming back onto the scene, they were both pretty big early in the format, but they fell off after everyone figured out how busted Oko was.
Yeah, and people kind of just figured that they weren't very good, and now they've kind of picked up. So, do you think, what are your thoughts on Standard and what the banning is going to look like? Because I know a lot of people have different opinions on what they want to happen and what they think is going to happen. So, what do you think is going to? What do you want to see happen, and what do you think is going to happen in regards to Standard?
Well, I'm pretty in on just ban Veil of Summer, ban Noxious Grasp, let Oko reign free.
Okay. Okay.
But in reality, I do think that Oko needs to go, and I think that just banning Oko is a pretty reasonable place to start. Once Upon a Time is also a heinous magic card, but they need to sell packs somehow.
Right.
And I think Once Upon a Time has a little bit more room to stay, whereas Oko is just like one of the most powerful spells you can play with in Magic right now. And I think I think that shouldn't be where the standard format is.
Right, that makes sense. I actually chose to not play Oko at the Mythic Championship, and I played Blue-White. But yeah, Oko is pretty crazy. But we can talk about that a bit more. Looks like they're on to game 3 now. Nick is on the plate. Looks like they both kept 7, and he's starting with a Monastery Swift Sphere and hitting for 1. So it's pretty much exactly what you're trying to do with the mono red deck. Get the damage in early.
Indeed.
Usually with Burn, they can usually Goldfish about. It's like a turn 3.5 deck. Usually turn 3, turn 4. So if you can get a couple of Swift Spheres out and start sending stuff upstairs, you can usually get there pretty fast. So we'll see.
Yeah, if we're casting the second creature here,
that would be ideal.
That would be the nuts.
Okay, so we got.
Looks like we're just starting off with a Lava Spike upstairs.
Yeah, and a suspended Riftbolt.
Suspended Riftbolt, second main.
So that's Coleman's at 14. Effectively 9 with the Riftbolt coming off on the suspend trigger, and then with the fetch land 8. So, if Nick has like even just like a Boros Charm and like a land and a Boros Charm and another burn spell, Coleman might actually just be dead on the 3rd turn.
Indeed. Coleman here notably not choosing to cast Howling Mine in his last turn, which I think is correct.
Oh, it looks like we got 3
skewer.
So that's 4 damage. So he's at 1, and Coleman can't crack his fetch land.
Coleman's fetch is turned off. He can't cast the Timely Reinforcements in his hand.
Reinforcements, and there's a 1-power creature in play.
Well,
maybe Coleman was supposed to fetch earlier on. If he had the fetch land early. Oh. the fetch land to try to get him to use, but I don't see. All right, and
there's the handshake.
There's the handshake. Nick wins 2-1 with Burn, and that was the turn 3 kill. Swift Sphere bolt another land, bolt, spend Rift Bolt, and then burn, and you're dead on turn 3. So
indeed. All right. Well, that was about how we expected that match to play out.
Yeah.
I'm unsurprised by that particular turn of events, but that is the end of our first round. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We are sponsored by Advancify, the best place to go to for IT and data recovery issues in Bellingham. They're great friends of the store, fantastic company, would highly recommend them. Go check them out at www.advancify.me. And now we're going to leave you with some music from Hot Damn Scandal, also friends of the store.
The bottom fell out of the clouds today, and the rain came down like a mirror. One big sheet and it shattered on the ground. Now it's 7 years of bad luck all over this town. collection time on all of your debts, and you can't get by just talking. Your smile don't work, and your car don't start, and your doors ain't keeping you alone. No, not even if you like them. No, not even if you like them. When you're tapped into that vital vein, just about anything feels good. Shining on a lost boy's eyes, they reflected oh so pretty. But it's cold behind them golden shores, and the sweet light wasn't nothing more than their own damn wishing, 'cause they just don't listen. Now wish on your candles, pray to your God, cry for your mama, put $1 on the bar. It feels like breathing, but the only good feeling ain't a gamble, is a sin. So I think I play it safe and get a gin. I'll take the devil for a spin. When you're tapped into that vital vein, just about anything feels good. For some the morning brings another day, but all it does for me is shine an ugly light around in the room that I've been hiding in. Now I take the easy way, yeah, that gets harder every day. But I ain't here to fix myself, I'm just trying to blind these eyes from hell. When you're tapped into that vital vein, just about anything feels good. Bottom of the barrel, I like to sleep in hidey holes and barroom stalls. I like to hear the piano playing in the bloody little dawn. I like to wake up with the devil and drink him till he's gone. The queen is drunk and someone armed the pawns. Is an acquired taste, a vice I've never thought to own. There is no cleaner left, so we filter it through cigarettes. But the gambler's mercy keeps us blind and fade. relying on my bruises, defined my edges against skies of gray. But now my worries are far away. The sky is clear, and I begin to fade. Once I believed in paradise, a place where I would never feel no pain, a state of mind I'd never have to change. But now it all looks alright, and I begin to fade. Trouble, I need you. I don't know what I am, but I ain't nothing without these blues. I've heard a million happy endings. I've seen the good guys win, I've seen the bad guys pay. But now I never read that final page, 'cause in that sunset ride, yeah, I begin to fade. Trouble, I need you. I don't know what I am, but I ain't nothing without these blues. There's heaven for the hopeless, a place where we can all still wax and wane, a place where cloudy skies can still bring rain. So in my shaking faith, I clasp my hands and pray. I pray for trouble.
All right, everybody, welcome back to round 2 of the Paradise Games Monday Night Modern stream. Round 2, we've got Nick back with Burn, and JT here playing Infect.
Once upon an
Infect.
Yes.
Sorry. Got JT on the play. Certainly good for him here. How do you feel like this matchup tends to be?
I feel like this matchup is pretty free for Burn.
Yep, agreed.
They're trying to beat you with creatures, and you have a whole bunch of burn spells. So,
yep.
Usually, I think Burn is pretty free, but it depends also if JT, I don't know if he's playing Oko in his deck or not. When I was at the Mythic Championship
People
this past
playing
weekend,
Oko in
people were
Infect?
playing Oko in Infect, and it was actually insane.
I don't believe you. But, I mean, I do believe you because, again, it's the most powerful card in Magic that we're allowed to play with. However, Okay, it appears as though JT does have 2 Oko in his sideboard, so I'm sure we'll see those coming in.
Yeah, that's going to be a very nice card.
Oh, God. The Oko Apocalypse. Elk Apocalypse,
yeah,
that is.
Yeah. Not even Elk, he's just going to make
food and it's going to be good enough.
Yeah. So. Alright, so it looks like Nick took a mulligan.
Nick's taking a mulligan. Looks like we've got lands and spells. Can't really see too clearly, but looks like a keep. Alright. Now it looks like JT's going to start it off with the namesake Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time, we're going to find a Glistener Elf, maybe?
Either Glistener Elf or... it looks like there's a Dryad Arbor in there that we can snap off. Both a land and a creature. Additional value.
Wow, land and creature. So, let's see.
I feel like that breaks the space-time continuum.
Yeah.
We got a reveal off that Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, he's probably thinking about whether he wants
the elf or the agent.
I think you just take
I think you gotta take the
1-drop one.
Yeah, unless you already have an elf in hand. But even so, I still think you take the elf regardless. Yeah. So, not totally sure what's going on here. Looks like land pass.
Land pass, okay.
Land pass for...
we've got a Monastery Swiss Sphere and 1 damage, and no infect creature. Interesting why I'm kind of curious to see why JT didn't take the 1-drop infect creature.
Yeah. I feel like the sooner you're able to get your creatures in play, the sooner... I mean, it's true that the sooner you're able to get your creatures in play, the sooner you are able to threaten lethal. I could understand not casting your creature on turn 1 if you had something like a Blossoming Defense. However, it did not appear as though JT did have an elf in his hand.
Yeah,
and I think we're just jamming this Blighted Agent here.
Yeah, so now we're going to play the Blighted Agent, but then we're not going to have any protection.
Yeah, it's going to be the same.
Yeah,
the same problem regardless.
The same, so it'll be interesting.
Oh, it looks like we're just casting Spellskite. Okay, that's pretty reasonable.
Okay.
There's a
Searing
Blaze off the top.
Searing Blaze seems pretty good here.
Yeah, definitely not bad. Gets in.
See if JT blocks.
JT. I can't imagine we're blocking here, but looks like no.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, unless he has Mutagenic Growth.
Got a Blaze. If we have Mutagenic Growth, it's a pretty big blowout for Nick, but
yeah. Looking over the Searing
exact
Blaze.
Text of Searing Blaze here, and it looks like we do have the Mutagenic Growth. Oh god.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
Well, so JT is still falling to 11. It'll die anyways. So it's 6. No, it's only taking 5. Okay. Yeah. So Spellskite will live.
Yeah, so everything lives. Okay, so that was pretty good.
Well, that exchange ended up being positive for JT, which is not necessarily what I was expecting there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess JT probably knows burn. I don't think, because any 1-mana burn spell would kill the Spellskite, so I don't think he would have just blocked unless he had a out or an answer to Searing Blaze. Although it is really greedy if Nick has 2 burn spells, but if Nick's spending 2 burn spells on the spell scale, then that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you want to happen anyways.
Yeah, so.
Alright, well, it looks like we're probably just casting the Blighted Agent, leaving up our Pendelhaven, and passing the turn.
I would think so, and then you have double protection in the Spellskite and the
Spellskite
and the Pendelhaven. So Nick is in a pretty tough spot. Like, he's going to be forced to leave up some amount of interaction, and it has to be enough to kill the Spellskite, because if it's not, then the Infect player could just redirect it multiple times. So we have a Lightning Bolt going upstairs. Lightning Bolt again. It's interesting why he's doing this all...
so we can get a Skewer off?
Yeah. So Skewer.
It's like, again... Okay, this Skewer is going to go to the Spellskite.
So that's 8. And so now...
Nick attacking for 4 here.
Yep, so that's a lethal attack, so... Either the Spellskite has to go, or the Infector. But then, this is interesting, because now, the Spellskite could die.
I mean,
Nick's completely tapped out.
Yeah, JT could just kill Nick here pretty easily.
Yeah.
Scale up into Might does it.
Yeah, maybe Nick
looks
felt
like exactly what's happening. Yeah, JT does have the Might in his hand.
Yeah,
and that's going to be it.
That's 10.
In for 10. All right, well, that's definitely one of the ways that Badgers can go. Played very well by JT, I think.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely was able to bait Nick into using a lot of his removal spells early, and the Spellskite was able to eat up a whole bunch of damage, and then when the coast was clear, JT was able to win. So that was definitely played very well.
Yeah. All right, so now going to sideboarding. For JT, we've got 2 Force of Vigor, 3 Veil of Summer, an Apostle's Blessing, a Spell Pierce, a Spellskite, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, a Pithing Needle, 2 Oko, and 2 Dismember. What do you think we're going to see coming in here? So
I think we're definitely going to see Spellskite.
Absolutely. Agree.
And Oko for sure. And there might be an argument for Spell Pierce and Apostle's Blessing.
Yeah, I think those are both entirely defensible cards to put in.
And as regard to taking stuff out, maybe, I don't know JT's main deck, so maybe some amount of Distortion Strikes if he's playing those.
Yeah, Distortion Strike's pretty bad in this particular matchup.
Yeah. And then maybe shave like some of the slower pump spells like Might of Volcrosa or things like that where it's sorcery speed.
Yeah.
And maybe want more instant speed interaction.
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful when sideboarding with Infect because you don't want to dilute your plan too much.
Yes, that is one thing that is very important, is to not you don't want to over sideboard for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, from Nick, we've got 3 Core Firewalker, 3 Path to Exile, a Searing Blood, 4 Smashed Smithereens, and 4 Skullcrack. What do you think we're going to see coming in here?
Well, we've already talked about the Nick sideboard a little bit, but looking at it, I would probably think we'd bring in the 3 Path to Exiles and the Searing Bloods.
Absolutely.
I don't think we'd bring... You could make an argument to bring in a couple Smashed Smithereens for Spellskite, although Spellskite is also just like probably a 1 or a 2 elf, so having a dead Smashed Smithereens might not be great. It does have some value in hitting Inkmoth Nexus, but you already have enough removal for that anyway, so...
Yeah.
And then for coming out of his deck, maybe some amount of Boros Charms.
Yeah, Boros Charm is not particularly impactful. You want all of your removal spells all of your burn spells to also hit creatures generally in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And have them be 1 mana.
Yeah, certainly. Even though Boros Charm is great at closing out the game, Burn tends to be playing more of the control deck in this.
Especially in this matchup, for sure.
Yeah. So, Oko, interestingly, can't be found off Once Upon a Time. And the I guess the way that it forms like a particularly resilient threat in this matchup is also like pretty useful, aside from the fact that it just is going to pump out 3 life a turn. Like creating a bunch of additional creatures that both block and will eventually need to be removed. Like it's pretty much the best card you're looking to find in this particular matchup.
Yeah, I think so, and I think this is one of the reasons. Oka's one of the reasons why burn is just mono red isn't a thing in standard.
Absolutely,
is for the same reason.
Yeah, the dominance of the blue-green decks
just
makes it pretty unplayable.
Yeah. So for Modern right now, I don't know if you've been following Modern too much. What do you think are some of the top decks in Modern right now? I
mean, I think that the Simic Urza deck that the Lotus Box crew took to the last big SCG is like still just pretty convincingly the best deck.
Do you think it's better than Amulet Titan?
That's what I was just going to bring up. Is that I think that Amulet Titan is the only deck in the format that can really challenge it right now, and I think it's close. I think it's very close, and I think that probably if you were to put like Amulet Titan in the hands of the best player in the room and Simic Urza in the hands of the best player in the room, the Amulet Titan player would probably come out on top.
Okay.
Just because that deck is so extraordinarily hard to play perfectly.
Right.
But I think that if you were to then go down the line and like start putting pitting the decks against each other slowly, the Urza deck would win out.
Yeah, because I had a chance to play the Urza deck at the PTQ on Sunday for Modern, and I felt like I had never played it before, and there's so many things that were going on that I would just go to time every round.
Yeah, that deck is still also very hard. But you are not searching your deck twice every turn for 2 different targets.
Right.
All right, so we're going to game 2 here. Looks like JT's going to take a mulligan. Another really nice thing about Once Upon a Time in this deck is that it really helps smooth out your bad draws, which is something that, in fact, has historically had some trouble with, not being able to find your creatures on turn 1 and 2. So I'm honestly surprised that more people haven't been doing. I've seen a couple of people playing Infect at recent local tournaments, and many of them have actually been shying away from Once Upon a Times.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Infect, so I'm not sure too much about it, but I do know that it does sometimes let you be a little bit more flexible with your hands, because the odds of you hitting a land, like if you have a low land hand, the odds of you hitting one in your first 5 cards are like pretty high. So
certainly.
So it looks like JT's mulliganing again. So
yeah, down to 5 here. Not really what you want to see, especially in a bad matchup. Thankfully, you're up a game, so you have a little bit of room to maneuver. But
yeah, and not only that, I mean, the thing with Infect too is it doesn't take very many cards to kill. Like if you have like
no, not at all.
2 lands, Infect guys, scale up, mutagenic growth. That's not mutagenic growth, Malleable Growth. So that's already 10 damage. So.
Right, Swift Spear on turn 1 yet again for Nick.
Yeah.
Pretty much the best start in the deck, so
yeah.
we're...
So it looks like JT was thinking about playing his Glistener Elf on turn 1, decides against it. Looks like we have another
Swift Spear. This could be one of those very fast hands.
Yeah, looks like an attack for 2.
So running out an elf here, again, pretty dangerous into this Rift Bolt. But it looks like that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think
if we have a pump spell, it doesn't suck, obviously, but you do have to start. There's a point at which you can't just sit back and relax against 2 Monastery Swift Spears, so you do have to start pressuring your opponent.
Yeah, because Nick right now, JT's at 16. He's gonna go to. He's gonna go to 3 off the Rift Bolt, and then he's gonna take 3 off the Rift Bolt and 4 off the 2 Swift Spears, assuming Nick doesn't play anything else. So that's already 9. So, that's 7 damage, which would put him to 9. So, if he played another like 2 more burn spells,
2 more lightning bolts,
that would be lethal. So I think JT is kind of priced into playing this creature here, and hoping that maybe it'll eat the Rift Bolt and buy some time. This is another matchup where I feel like play draw makes a huge deal.
Oh, absolutely.
So if I was Nick here, I would probably point the burn spell upstairs.
Yep.
Just because your opponent's going to have to most likely block anyway. And you don't want to just waste...
You really don't want to get blown out by a Blossoming Defense here.
Well, yeah.
Or a Mutagenic Growth.
Well, I mean, Blossoming Defense wouldn't be... Okay, so it looks like he's going to target the creature. Playing it a bit more defensively, just wants to keep the poison guys off the board, because if Infect doesn't have any creatures in play, then you're not going to die. So,
yep.
Maybe taking a bit of a more defensive approach here. So we'll see what JT wants to do. Now it kind of puts the onus on JT. Do you want to use a burn spell to protect it, or just let it die?
If you have another elf in your hand, I think it's pretty reasonable to let it die here, but if this is your only...
Okay, so here's Blossoming Defense.
Interestingly, firing off the Blossoming Defense here instead of the Vines of Vastwood.
Yeah, looks
unless
like
we're playing...
Okay, there's a Path to Exile.
Path to Exile. Well, that makes the Blossoming Defense certainly look better than the Vines.
Yeah. So the Swift Spheres are now 3/3s or 3/4s. Land. Looks like a bolt.
Bolt upstairs.
So he goes to 13.
One more.
Oh, so that would be... If he has another burn spell, that's
it. Yep, there's the Skewer. And
that's 10, and then attack for 10 with the Swift Spheres.
Or does it... It might be an attack for...
Nope.
He's cast 4 spells. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 10
Exactus.
Yeah. Because the Rift Bolt, Path to Exile, bolts... That's, yeah, so that's dead.
On to game 3.
Turn 3
kill yet again.
Yeah.
Not something you see all that often out of burn.
No. So that was pretty perfect.
Turns out the answer to Oko is just kill your opponent before they can cast it.
Yeah.
Looks like JT is going to change some things in sideboarding. Maybe putting... I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe taking out the Okos potentially.
Taking the Okos out on the play? I feel like you want the Okos on the play.
Yeah, so I guess for play versus draw...
Maybe you don't want the Okos on the draw, actually.
You don't want the Okos on the draw because it is a 3-mana spell. Your Noble Heart's probably going to get killed, so if it's 3 mana, it's too slow. But on the play, they might be better because you can be more proactive and cast them on turn 2.
Yeah, certainly.
Same with maybe the Spell Skates. Or not Spell Skates, sorry, Spell Pierce.
Spell Pierce, right.
Maybe is a bit better on the... play than the draw, because you can be a little bit more proactive in playing a creature and holding it up on your second turn.
Yeah.
Where it kind of forces your opponent to spend their turn answering it, and then if you can protect it with Spell Pierce, then you get a free turn to kind of do whatever, which is kind of what we saw in the first game where Nick was kind of priced into doing a whole bunch of damage and tapping out to kill the Spellskite, but then that gave the Infect player the window that he needed to do 10. So.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that Nick's sideboarding, we didn't see it change, and I don't think that it should.
No, I don't see anything.
Nothing too
changes,
big that matters here.
It is cool to see Nick coming back to play. I know he was taking a bit of a break, and he was definitely one of the old school players that used to come out to a lot of the old PTQs in the Seattle and Portland area. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to see him coming back.
Definitely nice to see him back.
All right, so it looks like we're in game 3. Oh, JT's taking another mulligan.
Yeah. It looks as though even with Once Upon a Time in your deck, you're still gonna have to mulligan a lot.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just one of the concessions you make playing the archetype.
Yeah, because you don't need. It's like with Tron, you don't need a lot of cards.
Yeah,
to
you
win.
can pretty convincingly mulligan to 4 or 5 every game, especially with the London, and it'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
This looks like pretty decent mix of lands and spells here. Looks like we brought Dismembers back in. Interesting.
Okay, so so Nick hasn't played Magic in 2 years. Okay,
yeah, that sounds about right.
That's yeah, because I remember the last time I played him was I think it was a 1K at like a local store in the Seattle area. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, I remember playing him. So that makes sense. So it's cool to see him. Okay, and there's the Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time, we find a. I didn't get to see
what that was.
Oh,
looks like the Inkmoth Nexus. Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, if I was Nick, I would be a little bit happier with that just because Inkmoth Nexus is a bit more mana, so it's harder to activate and protect.
Certainly.
So, you're probably not going to die right away. And no mana dork is great. Okay, there's a
spike.
Leva spike upstairs.
Well, at least it's not Bolt You.
Yeah.
That's always the.
I mean, it's technically, it is Bolt You, but.
Yeah, but.
it's
not literal lightning bolt.
So
Looks like JT is ready to get got by this gut shot.
I've won a match of Legacy with Gunshot, but that's a story. That's a story for another time.
I won many a match of Modern with Gutshot back when Faithless Looting was still legal.
Yeah, I was playing Gutshot in my Merfolk deck.
Yeah,
Legacy.
yeah. I believe I've heard this story before.
That's yeah. Well,
they never quite play around it, do they?
No, and it wasn't really that they played around it. I played bad. Oh, there's the
Spellskite. Okay, that's reasonable.
All right, so if Nick has a Smash the Smithereens here, that would be pretty decent. Or a Path to Exile.
Yeah, that would be pretty much the worst for JT.
Yeah.
Looks like.
Oh, it looks like he does have. Oh no, that's
There's a lightning. You can see a lightning helix at the very. Looks like we're not casting a creature this game, which is a little bit awkward.
So that puts.
Going to.
Oh no.
Well.
Oh no.
This is always a.
Did JT? Did JT activate Spellskite? Because you can activate. You can activate Spellskite.
You can activate Spellskite targeting any spell.
But it will not do anything.
It's not going to work. Hopefully it didn't say.
Yeah. Okay.
Activate Spellskite, then Nick said Lava Spike, and then he said activate Spellskite again.
Yeah.
I've seen that one before. At Comp REL, it's an awkward one.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like... Okay, so they played a Skewer, and the Skewer got redirected. Alright, so JT's at 11.
Alright. I would imagine that we're just going to start cracking in with our Inkmoth at this point, now that Nick's tapped out.
Yeah, I mean, now's a good time. If JT has like a Mighty Bolt Grocer or something, just like fire up
suit up and get in there.
Get in there for 5 in fact right away.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any mana. Like JT isn't actually. I mean, Nick isn't actually pressuring JT's life total too hard here. Without creatures in play, like it's pretty unlikely that JT's just gonna die next turn.
Yeah, I mean it's a I don't think
I think it's actually not possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. Even if it's a mountain bull. That's only 9. So.
Yep. Looks like we are gonna see maybe a scale up.
Scale up would be good.
Scale up would be pretty decent here. Yep, there comes the scale up.
All right, there's the scale up.
Crack in for 6. It's nicked 6 poison.
Okay.
Then we're probably just shipping the turn. And now Nick's gotta start holding up these lightning helixes.
Yeah. Which is gonna be very hard because
he's in range of
the spell skate in place.
Yep.
So
it's like maybe we're just gonna keep going upstairs and hope JT doesn't have it, which is pretty much the only way.
Well, with the spell skate in play, yeah.
With the spell skate in play, it's pretty much the only way that you're gonna be able to win this match.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like he's gonna redirect. Okay. Skewer
the face still, yeah.
So his skewers.
Skewers something. Not sure if it's face or the spell skate here.
Well, I think you do it to the face.
But I think you have to do it to the face.
Well, you do it to the face and let him
let him
decide if he wants to pay too.
Looks like he does, which means he probably has Nick dead here.
So that puts JT to 7. Let's see.
I can only see lands in JT's hand.
Yeah.
Here comes the Ink Moth.
Yep. Attack, yeah.
Attacks. Puts Nick to 7 poison.
Okay,
oh no.
Okay, so JT didn't have the pump spell. So that's good for Nick.
Yep. Looks like we're casting another spell skate.
Another spell skate. Okay.
Alright. This spell skate turning every one of Nick's spells into 2 damage instead of 3 damage. Also being probably just good enough here.
Yeah, potentially if Nick what did Nick draw there?
I'm not quite certain. Maybe a smash? Oh, it was a Rift Bolt. Oh.
So wait, so why did Nick tap his land?
I'm not quite sure. I think that he that Inspiring Vantage should have been untapped.
Yeah.
That is not a May, so we should fix that if we.
That's perfect.
Yeah, great. Just got a Noble Hierarch.
So
I think we get.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's still
probably cast it.
Yeah,
here.
I think so.
I don't think you want to boot up both your Nexuses.
No, because it's still the same amount of damage.
Yeah.
So, if you're not going to activate both Inkmoth Nexuses, I don't.
Looks like we are. Oh no.
No,
okay.
I would have.
I would have just cast the Hierarch first.
Well, no, not even cast the Hierarch, but I would have used the Inkmoth Nexus to animate the other Inkmoth Nexus, and then you have a green mana to do.
You represent.
Yeah.
You at least represent a pump spell.
A pump spell or vines or something, because now you're kind of just telegraphing that you don't have it.
Yep. Well, Nick.
Okay, 9
going
poison.
To 9 poison. So he's gotta figure something out here on this next turn.
So, if Nick has 2 burn spells, then he can still win. If he has 2 in his hand, because he's gonna fire the Rift Bolt upstairs, so that's gonna go to 4. I guess JT will redirect.
Yeah, JT will probably redirect.
I assume so.
So that'll put him to 5, which means if we have Boros Charm, any burn spell we get there.
Yeah,
I know that Nick did take out at least 2 of his Boros Charms.
Oh,
there's a Lightning Helix, which is not a Boros Charm.
No, but if he wants to redirect,
Spellskite's gonna die.
Spellskite's gonna die, and he'll have to take 2, which puts him to 2. Because he's at 4 right now. He'll put him to 2, and then the burn spell.
Oh, did he not redirect at the beginning of it?
No, because it doesn't change the math. Because if you redirect, you go to 5, then you do another burn spell.
Oh, right, sure.
Yeah. So if Nick has another burn spell here, then I don't think it matters. Yeah, okay.
Yep,
and there's the burn spell. All right. And
wait, has he taken... Oh, yeah, he took a Rift Bolt. Okay.
Yeah. And Nick,
goes the match.
Nick wins the game. Yeah, I guess Nick needed the... did he need the land? No, I guess he didn't need the land.
No, he didn't need the land.
No, he just had the 2 burn spells in hand, and
two exact
that was
burn
that.
Spells. Yep. Yeah, well, that was again about how we expected things to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Game 1 was a little bit definitely kind of exemplified like the best kind of games that Infect can have against Burn.
Yeah.
But yeah. So from this last weekend, you were at the Mythic Championship.
Yes.
So what did you end up playing? How did you feel about it? How did you feel about the overall field in the tournament?
Okay, so I played Blue-White Control. I know, shocker. I chose to not play Oko. I got to Richmond on Wednesday, and I was testing the mirror match. I had Sultai, I had Bant, and I had Simic, and I was testing the mirror match against Alex and Noble and some of the other guys that were there. I just couldn't win a game. I had Bant build, I was getting destroyed. I didn't have Bant build, I had Sultai build, I was getting destroyed. Then I switched to Simic, I was getting destroyed. Didn't matter. Every deck I played, I just lost. I was like, okay, you know what? I don't like any of these food decks. If I can't win these test games in the mirror, I'm not going to be able to beat these pros that I've been practicing for like a week and a half.
Sure.
I'm just going to play Blue-White. And everyone was like, Gavin, just stop. Like, you're going to do horrible if you play Blue-White. It's like not a good choice. And I'm like, well, we'll see. And so everyone went to bed early on Thursday. Was it Wednesday?
Wednesday. Submissions.
Yeah, and I literally was like messaging people at like 11:30 at night, and then
right, because deck lists are due at midnight.
Deck lists are due at midnight, and then at 11:45 I laid out I laid out my Blue-White deck, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play this deck. Like, why not? And so I, because the one guy in Nagoya went 17-1. He went undefeated till the finals, and so I mean, I felt like you can beat the Team of Reclamation decks, you can beat all the random decks.
Right, Teferi does that on its own.
Yeah, the food decks can be tough, but you're supposed to win game one, and then you just have to win a sideboard game. And every person I talked to said they felt like Blue-White was semi-favorite against food. So I was like, okay, well, that's good enough for me. So I played it. I went 5-5 in Constructed. I played against the Cat Witch's Oven deck, I believe, 4 times.
Okay.
And I beat it only
How did
one.
that matchup feel?
It feels really bad.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Yeah, I only won one of the 4 matches against them, and then I ended up losing to Sultai. I played against Sultai 4 times, and I went 2-2 against Sultai.
Okay.
And then I beat Team of Reclamation, and then I played against Jeskai Fires, and I beat that deck, and I played against Bant, and I beat that deck too.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I finished 5-5 in Constructed, and then 5-1 in Limited. So I finished with a 10-6 record. Unfortunately, I needed to go 11-5 to requalify for the next one in a couple of months. So now I'm back to the PTQ grind and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I think Blue-White was fine. I had a ton of fun playing it. And yeah, hopefully Oakley gets banned.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Another sponsor of our stream is Tabletop. They make fantastic board game themed apparel. It's beautiful, it's comfortable. I would highly recommend it. Check them out at tabletop.com. Thank you very much for sponsoring the stream. And we are going to leave you with some music from Cat Pasadena.
There we go.
All right, and we are back for round 3 of our Monday Night Modern Tournament here at Paradise Games. I'm Jesse. This is Gavin with me.
Hello.
Looks like we've got JT back again on Infect against Brendan playing Blue-White Control.
Okay, Blue-White Control. I'm a fan. I love Blue-White Control, so...
Generally... probably a pretty reasonable matchup for Blue-White if Brandon's able to draw early interaction.
Yeah, if he has to have a hand with early interaction. If he's just like trying to rely on turn 4 Supreme Verdict, then it's not gonna
go well.
No, it's not gonna be good. Okay, so
JT is on the play with a Once Upon a Time here.
Okay, yeah, Once Upon a Time. Here we go.
Brandon also mulligan to 6. This is looking awkward.
Yeah, I can't really see his hand.
He's got a Mana Leak, a Supreme Verdict, and some lands. It looks like an Absorb.
Absorb, interesting.
I think it's either an Absorb or a Misty Rainforest.
Okay.
Not sure which. But I think I saw the old gold.
Yeah, I want old Absorb. So if anybody has old Absorbs,
come find Gavin Bennett.
Yeah, come find them or trade them into Paradise Games.
Yeah, also sell them to us, please.
Yeah, because I want old ones, please.
You can find us at paradise.games.
Yes. Okay, so we have turn 1 Glistener Elf. So that's the perfect
as though it was a Misty Rainforest.
For which?
Not an old Absorb.
Oh. Okay, and there's the Path No Waiting. Okay.
That is going into exile, not your graveyard, JT, notably.
Yep. If we can get someone to
correct
fix that.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, that's already step 1 for Blue-White.
Step 1 for Blue-White, indeed. I'm kind of surprised that JT just ran his guy out without protection, but then again, if you don't have it, you gotta.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem is if you don't do it, like,
you do only probably have 6 spells that actually stop that Path to Exile in your deck, so...
wait, who was on the play?
JT.
So JT
he did
misses...
play it on... Wait.
So wait, no, that doesn't make sense.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Maybe he drew it on...
Unless JT just missed his second land drop. That would make sense.
I mean, he did... We're in JT's 3rd turn now.
Yeah.
And JT did hit his second land drop. He just played.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
I don't know what's going on here, but
yeah, this is very confusing. So, because otherwise that doesn't make
Yeah, but
okay.
Regardless, here we are now.
No, this makes
going into JT's 3rd turn.
2nd turn because he got
third turn.
3rd turn.
Yes. Oh wait.
No.
Oh wait. What? Oh, he must have missed his second land drop.
Yeah, he must have missed his second.
Or is this his 2nd turn? This is JT's 2nd turn. Okay, I'm just insane.
Yeah. Otherwise, that doesn't make. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Okay.
Okay, Noble Hierarch.
Got it. Okay. I'm completely off my game now.
Yeah, that was very confusing. Okay, so still no poison
Holding
creatures.
Holding up a Mana Leak.
Yeah, so we have a nice interaction.
I've got a nice Spell Pierce to counter back from JT, though, in the front of his hand there.
Okay, well, that's nice.
I imagine we're just going to jam out our threat if we have it, and if we don't, we're just going to start getting in there with that Noble Hierarch. Which can be a pretty legitimate way to win these games if you're able to stack them up against decks like Blue-White Control.
Yeah.
When you have a little bit more time, like they're not actually ending the game.
That's true.
I can't see the rest of JT's hand, but we are getting a nice view of Brendan's.
Yeah.
We've got Mana Leak, Path to Exile, Cryptic Command, and a Mystic Sanctuary.
And Supreme Verdict.
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah. All of those quite relevant here.
Yeah.
Even with JT having protection in the form of Spell Pierce, Brandon's looking to be in a pretty good spot. Scale up on our Noble Hierarch.
Wow, okay.
Let's go. Get in there.
Alright, so that's an attack for 7.
7, getting in.
Okay, that's 9.
That's 9. We're just gonna... Alright.
Alright, so Brandon's at 8.
Brandon not using his Mana Leak or his Path to Exile here.
Yeah, that's a little surprising,
yeah,
actually.
I think I would have gone for one or the other.
Yeah, at least one, because now he's really relying on that Path to Exile.
Yep.
And
it's not going to get through.
No, it's not.
And...
he might just die.
Yeah, there's actually a pretty decent chance that JD is just going to, like... Do we have another Might of Old Cursa? That's 5.
Although I guess with the Snapcaster Mage that he drew, he could block. Oh, what is this? Okay, there's the Mana Leak. Okay.
Well, yeah, we're just going to get that out of here.
Okay. Wow, so that's 5.
There goes 5 with Brendan to 3, but I think Brendan is going to be able to stabilize here with Snapcaster and Path to Exile. Pathing a Noble Hierarch always feels bad, but when it's beating you to death, you know.
Yeah.
Looks like we're just going to main phase Snap Path here.
I kind of like doing that now.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You don't get blown out.
If only we could find Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah.
Not that it would actually be very good here, but...
I mean, I remember there were old Poison decks that played Sylvan Scrying so they could find their Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually good, but
I mean, I don't think we're doing it. We certainly can't do that in this economy, but...
yeah, that's true.
I think that if we see a fetch land, we're definitely going to go see JT get a Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, I agree.
To continue the beats. Looks like JT's got another Spell Pierce. Very relevant here.
Yes.
And that was a Glistener Elf off the top.
Yep, so Glistener Elf.
Good old put your opponent to 10.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll maybe see a Supreme Verdict
Brendan
here.
might just snap off the Supreme Verdict. Oh, he can't.
Why
Can't, because it's a Misty Rainforest, and he can't get a Hallowed Fountain without killing himself.
Oh, that's right.
So Brendan to 2. I think we've got to get ourselves a tapped Hallowed Fountain here.
Yeah.
No, just getting Island?
Interesting.
What are we going to do with our...
I guess
we're going to do something with our Cryptic Command?
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure why we wouldn't get Mystic Sanctuary then. We're just going to go ahead and fire off this path right now.
Okay.
Right. I don't hate it. I do think that
another thing opponent could have done last turn, Brendan could have done last turn, is when he did the Snapcaster Mage path, he could have waited a turn and then blocked the Snapcaster Mage, or blocked the guy with the Snapcaster Mage, and then tried to bait out a pump spell. And if there was no pump spell, then he could just trade.
And
then if he did do a pump spell, he could Path to Exile his own Snapcaster Mage or the other creature, and then get a land.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this looks like a
There's a Narset. Looks like we're going to take Jace. Again, that Glistener Elf should go to the Exile Zone and not JT's graveyard.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. All set. So yeah, Jace is going to be a reasonably effective way.
Yeah, this is where Blue White is usually favored now. I feel like we've gotten to the point of the game where we sort of weathered the storm.
What's happening? Oh, wait. Oh, got it. So, cast Narset and started doing his thing with that.
Okay, so we're going to reshuffle everything.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Not competitive REL, so don't have anything to worry about as far as consequences are concerned.
Yeah. No attack from Brendan. That's interesting.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start ending the game at some point, and now is the time.
Well, and I don't think Infect plays any haste creatures.
No, they don't. So there's just no reason not to get in. Every point counts.
Yeah, but here we are now. So we got. Maybe he's just trying to be defensive. Doesn't want to lose anything. Okay, decides to attack for this turn.
Yep. we're just going to pass. There's an Ink Moth off the top. That's pretty good here.
That's actually really good. It's a poison creature that doesn't get affected by Supreme Verdict.
Yep.
And although with JT using a lot of his pump spells to try and deal lethal with the Noble Hierarch, it's going to be hard.
It's going to be a long road to
set up
the game here.
10 poison, for sure.
Yeah, so at the moment, if we were to discount cards in people's hands, JT's got Brendan on a 5-turn clock, and Brandon's got JT on a 6-turn clock, but Brendan does have 2 Cryptic Commands and the Supreme Verdict at this point.
Yeah, and he also has the Snapcaster, so he can also
Here comes
Cryptic.
A Groundswell. It looks like I'm pretty into Cryptic counter-bounce Inkmoth Nexus here.
Yeah, or I would even do counter-bounce Snapcaster Mage, just to give yourself more options.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Drawing a card...
I guess he's also short on mana, too, so he wants to try and get some more land drops.
I don't think that hitting your... I think hitting your land drops is not particularly... That's actually pretty decent. Shutting off Inflexibility to play at instant speed is pretty reasonable here.
Yeah.
But I don't think that hitting your 5th land is, like, going to matter really for the rest of this game.
Well, I mean, it kind
in that one particular moment, but I could be wrong.
Uh-oh, so animating Inkmoth Nexus.
I'm pretty in on... Let's see, Brendan's at 1 poison? Or did the...
I don't know what poison...
I believe Brandon's at 1 poison.
Okay.
Because he took 1 from the elf or the agent last turn that then got bounced by Teferi. The Groundswell didn't resolve.
Right.
Oh, we have a Pendelhaven now, so that's gonna move our clock up a little bit. It's an interesting thought here as to whether or not you go after Teferi.
Yeah, looks like that's exactly what's happening.
We're gonna do. And I like that play.
Okay, and I think we're going to see the Blighted Agent again.
Blighted Agent will come back down.
Sweet.
I think we're actually probably going to be...
Oh, I guess he still can't cast the Supreme Verdict because he doesn't have,
doesn't have the second
white.
I kind of like getting a little bit greedy and blocking the Snapcaster Mage and Pendelhavening there. But... I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
there's no real opportunities to get blown out in that moment, like in ways that you aren't getting you aren't going to get blown out anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
So I generally think that that's probably the right thing to do in that particular situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it only slows down your opponent's clock.
Yeah.
Here we go again. I really don't like using the blue mana, but
yeah, I might have used the forest.
Just use a forest. Looks like Brendan's just gonna take 3. Goes to 4 or 5 poison.
4 poison, yeah.
5, right? Because he took 1 from the Inkmoth last turn.
Oh,
it looks like we're
8.
Kicking of Vines. Which we're going to do something about.
Snapcaster Mage, Mana Leak. You should do Mana Leak. Oh, wow. Okay, so Path. If he has another pump...
Another Vast, Vines, or Blossoming
Oh,
Defense.
my goodness, does he have it?
The Blowout.
Oh, no, let's just...
Okay. Just Mutagenic Growth, the other one.
Growth.
All right.
Okay. Interesting why he didn't lead with the Mutagenic Growth first to try and bait the
Path, exactly.
Path. Because then he would have had the
that's going to put Brandon to 7 poison, or 8 poison, I believe.
8 poison.
Which means he's dead on board if he doesn't...
he doesn't peel a white source.
Doesn't peel a white source. I mean, he can also Cryptic to tap team. And actually, Brendan's clock... Oh, there's both a white source.
Oh, okay, so he's at 5 poison.
Only at 5 poison?
Yeah, because the other turn didn't take anything.
He didn't take it.
Because the Groundswell turn?
The Groundswell turn, he took 1, right?
Oh, yeah, so he took 1, so that's 2, and then I guess 3 for this turn.
And 3 for... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. So... This is an interesting spot. We don't have any instant speed spells that are going to kill our opponent in JT's seat right now. Which means...
Okay, so it looks like it's one. You should use the Pendelhaven, right?
Yeah, I should certainly be using the Pendelhaven and doing that before we do anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so that's...
That resolves. Using a pump spell here really puts us in a bad spot to Cryptic Command.
Right, but I guess the thing is the other thing you have to think is the game going to get better if I wait?
Right.
And if you don't think the game is going to get better the longer the game goes on, then sometimes you have to just say, okay, I'm going to go for it and make them have it. And if they have it, well, I lose. Yeah. Because especially against Blue White, the more cards that you give them, and the more time, then they're going to, like, next turn, if you don't go for it, let's say they're going to have 3 cards in hand, what are you going to do? Try and go wait, 3 cards, 4 cards, 5 cards, so you draw, like, multiple protection spells, like, it's just not going to happen. So, I think sometimes people get afraid that they don't want to look foolish by getting blown out by just going for it sometimes. But sometimes you have to just do it and hope that they don't have it.
It's like Brendan's
and it's
going to go ahead and bounce the blue source draw card.
Interesting, I guess.
All right.
Okay. So now his opponent has no infect creatures in play. He has a Cryptic Command in hand. He has 2 Snapcasters, which will put his opponent to 3, and then...
And he put the Cryptic back on top of his deck, I think, with the Mystic Sanctuary. Did he put anything back on top of his deck with the Mystic Sanctuary?
I think he did.
I'm quite honestly not certain that he did. Because I don't think he...
Path was put on top.
Oh, and so he Cryptic bounced drew
Path. And then Path, yeah.
Sure, okay. That's
all right.
Legit.
So Brendan takes the first game here.
Yep, the 5th Path to Exile was good.
Yeah.
Alright, so going to sideboards, we've got JT's sideboard again. 2 Force of Vigor, 3 Veil of Summer, 1 Apostle's Blessing, a Spell Pierce, a Spell Skite, 2 Grafter's Cage, 1 Pithing Needle, and 2 Okos, and 2 Dismember. What do you think we're going to see here?
Veil of Summer, probably.
Yep, absolutely.
Spell Pierce, Spell Skite, I think, and maybe you could bring an Oko.
Yeah, I think you actually... certainly should bring an Oko here.
Yeah.
I was playing a Canadian Highlander event this past weekend at the Puget Sound Battleground.
Congrats on your top 4, by the way.
Thank you. It was pretty alright for playing with 2 people who hadn't played the format before. And I played one of my games against Blue White Control in which I resolved an Oko on turn 2, and it felt like stone unbeatable. Like, they could literally never win. My Oko was on 20 loyalty at the end of that game. And had probably made, I don't know, it makes a 3/3 every other turn that they have to start answering eventually. And, like, they never have enough answers for all of them. And they only have maybe 1 or 2 clean answers to the actual Oko themselves in their deck in Detention Spheres. Which is both true of, like... both true in Canlander and Modern, because you have like Detention Sphere and Cast Out, and that's about it. And then in Modern you have Detention Sphere. Maybe some people are still playing Cast Out, and then like Big Teferi is your next best bet, and it's just gonna come back. So I think that if we can see JT land an Oko on turn 2, that's gonna be it. And then for Brendan, we've got a Wrath of God, 2 Monastery Mentor, 2 Timely Reinforcements, 2 Celestial Purge, 2 Ashiok Dream Render, 2 Disdainful Stroke, a Surgical Extraction, a Dovin's Veto, a Dispel, and a Mystical Dispute. What do you like here?
I like the Wrath. I like Timely Reinforcements. Dispel. And Dovin's Veto, I guess. I don't like Mystical Dispute. I don't like Ashiok. I don't like Disdainful Stroke. I don't like Celestial Purge.
Yeah, Surgical is pretty bad here.
I could see maybe Monastery Mentor, actually. This is a way to...
Yeah. It both closes the game out and provides blockers. But I still think, I don't know, I just don't think you're going to be able to race Infect particularly effectively.
Yeah, also Teferi is also a very good one against...
Teferi's nuts in this matchup.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like Brennan kept his hand. JT's mulliganing.
This is the 5th time that I believe we've seen JT mulligan.
Yeah.
Did he mulligan in game 1 of the match we watched last round?
I believe he did.
Okay, yeah. So,
but I mean, with this deck, you kind of have to I feel like you do have to mulligan semi-aggressively.
Yeah, you really do. It's like I said earlier, it's definitely one of the concessions of playing the archetype.
Yeah.
Looks like this hand is probably keepable. We've got a Noble... I can't see an actual Infect... Oh, we have an Inkmoth Nexus. Yeah, so we've got a Noble Hierarch. We've got some pump spells. We've got an Inkmoth Nexus.
Sweet.
Seems like everything we want to be doing. Oh, and a Once Upon a Time. Perfect.
So, one thing that I've seen sometimes some Infect players do against control decks is they have stuff like Invisible Stalker and Geist of Saint Traff sometimes.
Yeah, in the Bant version.
In the Bant version, or even just Invisible Stalker in the blue-green version as a sort of an answer for for control decks, because they can't remove it, and so you can sometimes just Goldfish them pretty quick, especially with Invisible Stalker.
Yeah, Invisible Stalker is a nice one. Generally, I'm not a fan of that particular style of play. I'd rather just put more disruptive elements like Spell Pierce in my deck.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see where people are coming from in that regard. So
okay,
we are
so
pathing in draw, not in draw step.
No,
not letting them untap. Okay, understandably so.
So this is a little greedy, just because now JT can potentially play a third land and play something like an Oko or something else. It might have been better to fire off the path on the upkeep, just because then your opponent doesn't get the mana right away. And
right,
if
they don't get the mana right away. They also,
if they choose to use a spell, they have to do it before they draw a card, so they get less information. And it uses their mana for the turn, so then you get free reign to do whatever you want on your turn.
Yeah, based on Brendan's hand, he doesn't have particularly good follow-up early, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand not wanting to risk the creature surviving and just dying.
Yeah.
Then again... Ooh.
Okay, there's
There's
Elf.
Another elf. Which makes this Supreme Verdict look particularly good.
Yeah, as long as he can survive until then.
Looks like his only form of interaction is a Dispel at this point. He's got a Jace and a Supreme Verdict on 4, but until then,
looks like 2 in fact. Yeah, until then he's kind of stuck.
Let's see, we're still going to stuff before
growth. I think it would probably snap off the spell here.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you trying to potentially save it for?
Not much. I mean, like a Vines.
Yeah.
Is the one, or a... Especially since you don't have a removal spell, like... If you had a Path to Exile, I could understand waiting.
Oh, that's that Field of Ruin is an excellent draw there.
Yeah, that Field of Ruin actually very relevant here, stopping the Inkmoth Nexus if he's able to remove the Glistener Elf. However, he still didn't draw anything.
See, now Brennan's kind of stuck because he didn't use the spell.
Yep.
So he wants to leave up the spell and be able to use the Field of Ruin on the Inkmoth Nexus. But
Yeah.
now he can't do that.
Well, I mean, he can field the Nexus and then Dispel.
Well,
but that's very bad against Vines.
Yeah, it's very bad against Vines, and it's also JT can just respond to the Field of Ruin trigger.
Yeah. Looks like we are not booting up Inkmoth yet. Just going to continue getting in with our elf for 2.
Okay. Looks like he's going to try and...
Going to fire off.
Field of Ruin. I think he's doing it on the...
I imagine it has to be on the Nexus.
Yeah, I would assume so. Brendan's at 6 poison right now, so...
Yeah, so... If JT's got a protection spell here, it's pretty reasonable to just activate the Ink Moth with itself and protect it to strip mine your opponent.
Yeah.
Which is especially good. JT doesn't know how good that is. But we know that Brendan's hand is all 4 drops, and keeping him off that 4th land for an additional turn is going to be very probably game-winning.
Yeah. It is scary, though, if you're in JT's side, because if it's your only protection spell and you burn it to, like, stop the Field of Ruin, if you're not attacking with the Ink Moth Nexus anyway, then maybe it's better to save it for... Yeah, okay.
Yep. Still not entirely sure. I imagine based on the amount of tanking that was done there that he does have a protection spell, but and this land does come in untapped. Yeah, okay, they fixed that.
Yep. Did he search for planes?
No. I believe he has a 2nd planes in his hand. I could be wrong. We could just be putting Path to Exile on top of our deck with this Mystic Sanctuary now. No, there's another one. Okay, there comes the Supreme Verdict. And
maybe JT lamenting the fact that he didn't
protect the Ink Moth there. Passing the turn on back. Well, if we've got another threat that isn't a Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, that's a Glistener Elf.
It does look to be another Glistener Elf. Looking pretty good here. If we're just gonna jam out our Jace the Mind Sculptor, which I think is a pretty reasonable line.
Yeah, but then you don't have Dispel protection, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Ew, does he have a Snapcaster Mage in hand that he drew last turn?
I think so.
Okay.
Looks like Snapcaster Mage. Yeah. He's gonna target
Path. Playing around Spell Pierce.
Yep. Playing around Spell Pierce. That's a good strategy for sure.
And
Brendan has the Dispel backup too.
Yep. Yeah, Dispel for this Blossoming Defense.
Yep. Dispel. Yep. You know, if JT wants to protect it again, he's going to be empty-handed. Okay.
Yeah, this is looking pretty poor for JT.
Yeah.
Again, that Glistener Elf goes to exile.
Yeah, that Glistener Elf should be in the exile pile. Perfect.
Did we give him the option to search for land also?
Oh, I think he failed to find. He failed.
Okay.
Right, in our set, dig.
Set's gonna dig.
Cryptic Command.
Cryptic Command.
No.
Looks all right.
So this is looking pretty solid for blue-white. Okay, attack for 2. Draws for turn. Okay, I think
we're just passing it back.
Pass.
I don't hate Mystic Sanctuary, but I also
I think getting the Holophone is good. You just want extra white sources.
Yeah.
And if you're not gonna use the Mystic Sanctuary right now, you don't really need anything. You have the Jace, you have the Narset, you have a Jace in hand, you have Snapcaster Mage, you have a Cryptic. Like, it might be better just to save the Sanctuary for something else. Oh, it looks like he drew Sanctuary anyway.
Yep,
so.
well, that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
As it turns out, that's where we want to be. Sanctuary.
Mystic.
There's the
Mystic Dispersal?
Mystical Dispute. Wait.
Mystical Dispute, yeah. Okay, there's the Sanctuary. Put back to spell.
And we just have Cryptic Command up for the rest of the game. It looks like we're just going to cast our
Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, get our Jace Dispel into our hand.
Yeah. They might even just Fate Seal. Yeah, I like Fate Seal here. Okay, stays on top. Attacks for 2. And this one looking
pretty much locked up.
Yeah,
here.
Pretty much over.
Well, there comes the Noble Hierarch that I left on top.
Yeah, well, when you're at 20, you can don't really care about that one too much. Return.
We've got another Sanctuary for our... I guess it doesn't really matter even.
Yeah.
We just wait and put the Cryptic Command back on top of our deck, probably.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to bounce the one that we already have in play.
Yeah. Sanctuary,
looks like we're just going to put our Supreme Verdict on.
Yeah, that's
I don't hate it. Like, I don't think it's super necessary, but it's pretty reasonable to just want to make your land drop every turn.
Yeah. And I mean, I think at this point, he knows that JT doesn't have much, or he would have played something already.
Yep.
So
there's a Once Upon a Time.
I'd probably just dispel that, honestly.
Either dispel it or just like even go ahead and counterbalance your Mystic Sanctuary with your Cryptic Command.
Yeah.
You can still hold up dispel at that point, and
okay, there's a Plated Agent.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get rid of that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the Jace is at, but I think it should be presenting a faster clock than the Snapcaster range at this point.
Yeah, I think the Jace is at 7 right now. Yeah, so 3 more turns and the Jace will be at ultimate range.
Yep.
I think Brennan's looking pretty solid here. He's got the Narset, he's got the Jace, so he's controlling JT's draws. He has a Field of Ruin, so if JT does draw like a Blink Nexus or something, he can get rid of it that way.
Yep.
And he has like the Cryptic Command, Mystic Sanctuary lock, so I'm not really sure what sequence of draws JT could have in order to come back in this game, because Brennan's got everything pretty covered at this point.
I don't really think there are any, especially with JT's hand being blanks at this point.
Looks like attack with Noble Hierarch. Block with Snapcaster Mage. Looks like a pump spell is coming now. I mean, you gotta do something. There's the Vines of
Kicked
Vastwood.
Vines. Yeah,
There's
dispel
the spell.
it. Could see something else here.
Looks like JT only has 1 more mana.
Yep.
And I think JT knows that Brennan has a Cryptic Command in too. So
I think this is just kind of a last-ditch effort from JT, and I imagine we'll be scooping it up after.
Okay, so they trade. Looks like he's finished past the turn. Jace the Mind Sculptor, go to 9. Fate Seal, leave it on top, pass the turn.
Yeah, like I don't even know what we're bottoming at this point. I don't think it's anything. Like I think that knowing what your opponent is drawing is much better than just seeing a random card, unless it's literally Thrun the last troll.
Yeah. Eddie Lerma, this is I think you're asking if this is in Texas. No, this isn't.
This is in Bellingham, Washington.
Yeah. Looks like another Fate Seal. Just kind of going through the motions here. I think JT sort of knows that there's probably not much more he can do here. Serene Verdict, get rid of those creatures.
Yeah, and this is looking like the bitter end.
Yeah.
For JT.
And pass the turn. Draw. Alright, JT's done. Brennan's gonna crack his fetch land.
Couldn't conceivably see another Mystic Sanctuary
getting
Mystic
back Sanctuary, Cryptic Command, and then
and we're off to the races here. Just gonna be able to continue to do that for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy.
Which is going to be rather short.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy combo.
Okay, never mind. Just getting back Supreme Verdict. Sure.
I guess the Critic's in his hand.
Basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much good enough.
It's gonna stay on top. It draws, and
yeah, and it's always unfortunate to see these kind of games where JT was dead 5 turns ago, and like
yeah, but I appreciate him trying to fight the good fight, because maybe
certainly if your opponent screws up, then you're in a good
right?
you're in a good spot, and so I respect and think that it's the right thing to do to continue playing, but boy can it be painful.
Yeah, for sure. And there's the handshake. All right, Brennan takes it down 2-0 with blue-white control. Jace Ultimate and the Mystic Sanctuary Cryptic Command. Hard luck.
Indeed. All right, well, that was our third and final round of Modern here at Paradise Games in Bellingham, Washington. You can check out our website at parodice.games. In our store right now, we've got our rainy day sale going on through December 2nd. Currently, we've got 20% off most things in the store, 50% off of select items in our in our store, and then 10% off Magic packs, singles, and other collectible card game products. This sale doesn't apply through purchases through the TCG Player Marketplace, but if you are buying stuff directly through our website, you can select pick up in store, and we will send you a link to pay through our Square store so that we can give you the discount online. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and now we've got a quick sponsor plug, and then we'll send you on your merry way. We'd like to thank Die Hard Dice for sponsoring our stream. They make beautiful, well-crafted dice products, both sets of dice for all of your role-playing game and role-playing game, board game, collectible card game needs. They also make gorgeous dice trays. I would highly recommend all of their products. They have this nice hefty feel to them, unlike any other competitors in the game. And we will leave you with some hot damn scandal as we tune out.